Okay, hey, it's Mega here, and I'm doing another video on my Toyota Prius maintenance party. So one of the things for the maintenance party is we're gonna replace the belt, the accessory belt. So, all right. So the accessory belt is once upon a time cars used to have belts on them to help drive the accessories. Nowadays, there's some cars don't have them, but the I do know the third gen Prius does not have any kind of belt. I know the first and second gen Priuses did have belts. So the second gen Prius still has one, and I believe its only function is to operate the water pump. It still has like a mechanical water pump. I guess they did away with the mechanical water pump, and the third gen Prius is what's going on, because I worked on a third gen Prius and I didn't see any kind of belts in there, so that's kind of nice. So interesting thing to know is I have never replaced one of these belts on a Toyota Prius, and so today I'm going to kind of wing it is what I'm going to do. The book doesn't really say when to replace it. You're just supposed to inspect it over time, and if it's cracking or anything, it looks like it's missing any ribs on the belts, you should go ahead and replace it. So I don't know if this has ever been replaced on my car. The car we will be doing it on today is a 2006 Toyota Prius, my 2006 Toyota Prius, and it has 200,000 plus miles on it, and I don't know if the belt has been changed on it before. I do know there's quite a number of recalls done on these Toyota Prius vehicles. Not so much nowadays, but I remember I think one of the recalls had to do with something to do with the water pump, I think. And they may have replaced the belt, because as far as I know, there's no open recalls for this vehicle. So I think all the recall work has been done on it already, and so yeah. So I think they may have replaced the belt when that happened, or they probably just took it off and put it back on. I don't know. So anyway, the belt that we'll be installing today is this. It's a Napa belt slash hoses Power Series Micro V belt. I was told by Winchester Auto that Gates is the one that makes this. So there we go. Gates I can trust the Gates brand to make a good belt. That's what I want to say. I would go with the Gates or a Goodyear belt. Those are my favorite belts, by the way. So this is the belt that they gave me. It's a Micro V. It says 25 here, and there's a number 030338. I think this one's the part number. 3 Papa Kilo 860 is the part number. So these are probably the numbers you're going to want to look at. You know, I'll put it in the parts in the description below what kind of belt I used, and it gives you the measurements right here for everything too. So I paid, I think, $18 for this. Not too bad, I guess. And it's like a 3-rib belt. It's very small. Yeah. So we're going to go ahead and replace that today. And like I said, I'm just going to wing it. I mean, I kind of went through the book earlier, and it basically all it just says, the Haynes manual is what I'm talking about. Basically, all the Haynes manual says is just to inspect it and then replace it if it got bad. So, and then it kind of shows you. It kind of briefly tells you how to remove it and stuff, but it doesn't really go into a lot of detail. It's not. I don't have the service manual for the Toyota Prius, so I don't know if the Toyota manual would be better. So, all right, so let's get this done. Here we go. So, like I said, it was $18 for that. I got it at Winchester Auto. It's a Napa brand belt, but it's made by Gates. It's produced by Gates. All right, let's go. Okay, so I've got my car on jack stands, or on ramps right here. These plastic ramps here that I've been using for a couple days now. That's probably the easiest way you can get your car up in the air. I'm thinking you don't need to have it up in the air, but I'm going to be changing the coolant on this car, so I need to have it up in the air anyway, because I need to work on the car. I believe all the work can be done from just the engine bay, so we're going to go ahead and do that. Okay, so before I've already taken it off. But before you start working on the getting the belt out, or working into the belt area, the best thing to do would be to take this cover off. this plastic cover that covers like the coolant stuff and all the, so it's like a plastic cowling. So to take that off, I've already done most of it, but there's these clips that go in. You're going to want to get a Phillips head screwdriver and loosen it. Get your fingernail, pull up on it, on the center bolt, center part of the clip, and wiggle it, and then just try to pull the whole thing out. So you can come out like that. You got to do that 6 times. There's 6 of these you got to take out, and then once all of those are out, you can lift the cover off, and then you just push forward a little bit because that latch gets in the way, and the whole thing comes out. Okay? And it'll make it a little bit easier to work with in that area, because we need to take this off. Okay, so this is going to be the area that we're working in. It's kind of near to the left side of the airbox right here. The belt is. See it, belt. Okay, see it? It's right there. So right there, right here is a tensioner pulley right here. No, that's not the tension. That's the water pump. That's the water pump, the shiny part here. And then up here is the tensioner pulley right there. So those are going to be the important bits right there. I apologize for the lighting. For some reason the cap is so bright and everything else isn't. Okay, so I wanted to note that Hades Omega, like he mentioned before, I don't know when you're supposed to replace this belt. You're just supposed to inspect it and then replace it whenever it looks like it's going to go bad. If you do throw the belt, or the belt comes off, or the belt breaks or whatever, your water pump won't work and your engine will probably start overheating. So and you may damage your internal combustion engine. So I would replace it if you see it going bad. So when we pull it off, we'll compare it to the new belt that we have, and I'll show you what I think this has 200,000 miles on this belt. I've never seen one. I've never had to replace one on a 2nd gen Prius. We've had a couple, and we just kind of just let it do its thing, but we'll take a look at it. I've got 200,000 miles on this car. I figure it's probably about time that we change the belt, so I'm gonna go do it. Okay, so like I said, this is going to be kind of intended as like a vlog. You just kind of follow along, and I'm gonna go do it. It's not really a how-to video, but I guess it's a how-to vlog. Okay, so the first thing we got to do is we got to get this intake snorkel out of the way because it's in the way. So the best thing to do would be to just remove it. There's a clamp right here. And I think once you get it off, I think it just comes right out. It's kind of just pressed into place. So we're going to remove this clamp, this clamp right here on the top. It's a 10 millimeter or a Phillips head. I think I'm using a number 3 Phillips. So you want to loosen it up as much as you can. Okay, pull it off. Okay, comes out, and then so let's show you what's going on at the bottom here. Okay, so yeah, I just pulled it off of there. You probably want to clean that. It's kind of filthy. And then I think you just kind of pull it out from under here. It should just come right out. It's bolted into something. Oh, I see a screw over there. There's a screw right down there, and there's no way we're going to get that out. So I'm not really sure how to take that out. So the best we can do is just move it out of the way. I think. But we don't want to move it this way, but we have to move it this way. So it's still in the way, It kind of sucks. Okay. But okay. Maybe we just move it this way. So we kind of got more room to work with there. So okay, so hopefully that's a little better. It's still kind of bad, but let's see if I can move this hose, bend it a little bit lower there. Looks like it's a little better. You might want to take this off too, this little grounding strap. So let's go remove that too. Got a 10 millimeter. Get this out all the way also. It doesn't look like it's too hard to do, but it's just there's stuff blocking it. That's the problem. Okay. Let's put that to the side there. Let's move this strap out of the way. For now, don't forget to put it back. Okay, and we got some access. You may want to take this connector out also. I don't know why it's taped on there. It's kind of funny. Get that out of the way a little bit. So make sure you put that back too. And there. So now that's probably the best. That's probably as much room as I can get right there. So here's what we're working with here. You've got a crank pulley down there. See that? That's a crank pulley. You've got a tensioner right here, and this is where we'll be working right here. Just this right here. The fortunate thing is it's the easiest to get to, sort of, kind of. But then working the belt in there is going to be kind of tough. I'm going to try to do this everything from the top of the engine bay. I think you can do it. Like I said, I'm winging it. The alternative would be to take the wheel off and then take the splash cover off on the side, the plastic cover, and then it should be a lot easier to do. But I want to see if we can do it from the top here. Okay, so the way it works is you can see the belt there. The belt wraps around the crank pulley and around the tensioner here, and then it loops around it, and then the back part of the belt is what drives the water pump. Right? Yeah, and then it goes back to the crank pulley. It doesn't look like it's too hard to do. It's just, I think the hardest part will be routing the belt through there. So. All right, so now that I've kind of talked us through it, well, let's go do it. So, the first thing we're going to do is we're gonna loosen the tensioner pulley, and then we're going. And also, if you the tensioner pulleys do wear out. If you hear any kind of squeaking sound from there, you probably want to replace that tensioner pulley. It's a pulley, and there's like a bearing holding it. So, but I'm not getting any kind of squeaking noises, and it looks like it's fine. So, it doesn't look like it works very hard. I'll tell you. All it does is it spins that water pump. That's all its job is to do. So it's not much work for it. It doesn't drive the air conditioner. It doesn't drive the power steering, because all those are electric on this car. All right. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to loosen the center of the pulley. We're going to loosen the idler pulley here, the tensioner pulley. It's not an idler pulley. It's a tensioner pulley. And then we're going to loosen the pulley. We're going to loosen the tension on the belt by adjusting it here. So this is your adjuster bolt, and this is kind of like your locking bolt right here. And it looks like somebody's already fiddled around with it, because I can see it's a little stripped a little bit. You know what I'm also going to do? I'm going to move this little sensor here out of the way also. So that's another 10 millimeter. You got to take out. I'm going to use this T-handle right here. Get that out of the way so we can get a little bit better access to that tensioner pulley. I don't think we have to remove it. I could probably do it without it, taking it out, but I feel like it's kind of in the way. So take that okay. Just take one of them out, one of the hoses out. Hopefully the hose doesn't crack. Remove it. Okay, that looks good. Okay, so there you go. That takes, I don't know what sensor that is, but we're going to move that out of the way right here. Okay, so there's that sensor, and we're just going to move it out of the way right here. I'm going to put it near the oil cap. Now we got a lot more room. So there's a little clamp. There's a little a clamp here. It's really easy to take out. It's got these really big squeezer thingies here. Just move that out and then pull the hose out. And then that should be good. We got plenty of space to work with now. All right. Okay, here we go. Alright, so we're going to loosen this nut here. It's a 14 millimeter. Okay, just so I don't bust any knuckles or anything taking this out, I'm going to use this breaker bar to loosen it. Plenty of space to use it. Oh, it's pretty tight. Okay. You probably can torque it too. We'll see. Okay, it's pretty loose already. Okay, so I'm going to use this ratcheting 14 millimeter combination wrench here to loosen it more. You want it to be pretty loose. If this is basically the locking nut for it. If you don't loosen this, you can't adjust the tension. Okay, so actually I should check the belt tension real quick. Oh yeah, it's really loose now that I loosened it. Let's tighten it real quick and see what the tension is like. Okay. So the belt. So just take note of how tight the belt is. Now I'm pushing on the belt here. It's kind of hard to see, but you can see the belt like back here. It deflects, let's say, almost a ½ inch, maybe like a quarter inch or a ½ inch. So just remember how tight it was. If it squeaks later, you're just gonna have to adjust it. That's how it is. But I've never had to adjust one of these. So it's like it just does its thing, man. Doesn't complain at all. There's not a lot of like I said, it doesn't do much. Okay, so now what you're going to want to do is take your okay, so now you're going to want to take a 12mm socket with an extension. It makes it easier to work on, and then you're going to just loosen this, and the belt should get looser. I think it's like a reverse thread or something. So I'm using a 12mm T-handle socket extension and socket combo deal here. Okay, it's pretty loose now. You should be able to take the belt out, just peel it off of there, and then peel it off the water pump. Just make sure you remember how everything went. It's pretty hard. It's pretty hard to mess up. There's not a whole lot the belt has to be routed through, you know. And then you gotta kind of move it out of the way at the water pump. Well, there's not a lot of room to work with back there. Okay, and then it comes off. Hopefully we can get it back on. But it just came out. It's pretty easy to get out, so. Yeah, and I'm looking at the belt, and it's all cracked and stuff. I think it's about time to replace it. This is what you don't want it to look like, okay? Okay, so belt uninstalled. That was okay, so this is our old belt, and this is the new belt right here. This is the Napa Power Series Micro V belt 030338, or 3 Papa Kilo 860. It's made by Gates. It's a good belt. I would say, like, you can probably just buy one from Toyota too. Maybe they probably use Gates also. So just make sure they're similar belts, and they are. It should have 3 ribs. So what you don't want your belt to look like is that, you know, you don't want to see these cracks on the ribs. So that's not good. That's a no-go. So that means, like, yeah, we should probably replace this soon. You do not want your belt to look like that. If the top is cracking too, you don't want it to be cracking. So the top looks okay. The ribs not so good. So you probably wanted to replace that. I don't know how long it's been like that, but you can compare it to the new belt. Does not look like that, right? There's no cracks in it. Other than that, it's all right. 200,000 miles. If this is a 200,000 mile belt, though, I would say it looks pretty damn good for a 200,000 mile belt. But we're gonna go ahead and replace it now. Okay.